Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's tutorial, we are diving into how to create a custom model in Next.js from scratch. A model, often referred to as a dialog box or pop-up, is a common UI element used to display content on top of an existing page. It's perfect for login forms, notifications, or even for displaying details about a product without leaving the page. Understanding how to implement a model is crucial for web developers. It's not just about adding a neat feature to your site, it's about enhancing user experience, making your web applications interactive and user-friendly. And with Next.js, we can create a model that's both efficient and scalable, fitting perfectly into modern web applications. Before we jump into coding, let's ensure we have everything we need. You will need a basic understanding of Next.js, React, CSS, and Tailwind CSS. Familiarity with React's state management is also beneficial since we will be toggling the visibility of our model. If you are new to Next.js or need a quick refresher, consider pausing here and checking out our introductory videos on these topics. Now let's get our environment ready. I'm assuming you have already set up Next.js project. If not, you can easily create one by running npx create-next-app space your project name in your terminal. This command scaffolds a new Next.js project for you. For this tutorial, we are building a model from scratch, so no additional dependencies are needed. We will be using the built-in capabilities of Next.js and React along with some basic CSS for styling. This approach keeps our project light and focuses on understanding the core concepts. Making sure Next.js project is open in your favorite code editor, I will be using VS Code. It's excellent support for JavaScript and React. With our project set up and our editor ready, we are all set to start coding. Let's start by creating our model component. Our model typically consists of a few key elements: a backdrop to focus attention on model content, a close button to dismiss the model, and the content area itself where we can put any content we want like forms, text, or images. First, we will create a model file. So in your project's component directory, create a new file named modal.tsx. This file will house our model component. So in the apps directory, I will first create a components, and once it is created, I will add a file modal.tsx. So in modal.tsx file, let's start by importing React and setting up a basic functional component. We will also need some state management to handle visibility of our model. So let's import the use state from React. Okay, now I will define I will use export const model, and this will return the content of the model. And in this function parameter, we will receive our props, and the name of props is open, on, close, children. So these are the parameters that we will be getting from the parent. We will also specify the type. Is open is boolean, on close would be the function that will return nothing, and we will be receiving the children as a React node element. So here I will check if is open is false, then I will simply return null, and if it is true, then it will let it render the element HTML that we are going to define here now. Okay, so here I will add div dot class name, div dot model dash backdrop, and within that we need another div with model content, and then we need a button within that. Press enter. All right, within the button we need a text, close, save it. And now after the button we need to add children, and on button I will add a click event on click, and we will call the on close function that we will receive from the props or parameters. So let's quickly talk about this code. In this code, is open controls whether the model is displayed. On close is a function passed from the parent component to close the model. Children prop allows us to insert any content into the model. The model itself is divided into two parts: model backdrop for the dimmed background and model content for the content area, including a simple close button. It's crucial to ensure our model is accessible to everyone. This means managing focus within model and supporting keyboard navigation like closing the model with the escape key. So let's add the use effect hook to manage these aspects. So here I will add use effect, and we will add dependency on close prop, and let's move it on the top here. Okay, now within that function I will create a constant handle key down. Okay, I have assigned it a function that will receive an event with the type keyboard event, and I will check if e.key is equal to escape, then we will call the onClose function. Okay, now after that line of code I will register my event window dot add event listener key down handle key down. Okay, this code listens for the key down event and checks if the escape key was passed. If so, it calls the onClose function to close the model. It's a small but important feature that makes our model more user friendly and accessible. Lastly, let's add some basic styles to our model. You can do this within the same file using inline styles or create a separate CSS file. For simplicity, let's add a few styles here to give our model a basic appearance. So here I will create a new folder model and move the model inside of that folder, because now it is going to have multiple files, one for the component and second for the style sheet. Okay, so here I will add model dot module dot css. Okay, and now you can import the styles from this file into the model in this way. Import style from this file. Okay, and here I will add model backdrop, and I will give it these styles, and I will also add display flex, justify content center and align item center. And then we will design the model content selector. Okay, here I will add background white, padding 20, border radius 10 pixel, box shadow, width 80%, max width 500 pixels, and position is relative. Okay, now here we need to link those styles with the relevant elements. So here I will add, so I will convert it into the, actually we don't need this class at all because we are not using it in any way. So here I will add styles dot, and I will use this. Let me make it camel case so that we could easily access it in JavaScript, and same for this. Okay, and I will do same here. All right, and there you have it, a basic but fully functional model component in Next.js. Remember, the key to great model is not just in its functionality but also in making it accessible and user friendly. Experiment with different styles, animations and content to make it your own. Now that we have our model functionality in place, let's make it look good and responsive using Tailwind CSS. Tailwind's utility first approach allows us to quickly style our components without leaving our JSX. If you have not already, you will need to install Tailwind CSS in your Next.js project. But in our case, the Tailwind CSS was a part of the installation, so it is already configured and running. Let's quickly test this model. So I will go to the page, and here I will remove everything, and here I will add model. Make sure to import it, and we have to pass it some props. Is open, true, and on close. I will show alert. Okay, now let's give it a quick try. I have an error that is saying that you are importing a component that needs use effect. It only works in a client component, but none of its parent are marked with the use client, so they are server components by default. To fix that, let's go back to the model, and on the top we need to add use client, save it, and after that we have another error. It is saying that event handlers cannot pass to the client component props. If you need interactivity, consider converting the part of this to a client component. So here we have to add use client here as well. Save it. The issue is resolved, And I also think that I guess we don't need to use client to the child, because we already have specified client to the parent. So if you have specified the use client to the parent, then all of the child components would become the client component instead of server component. Okay, so this is our model that is currently working. So this is the close and other button, and you can right now the color is white, that's why it is being mixed with it and we cannot see it. Let me change my dark mode to light mode so that I could see it clearly. Okay, now you can see there is a shadow and everything is working perfectly fine. Now it's time to convert all of these styles back to the Tailwind CSS. So I will comment this out for now, and here I will add all of those classes that we want. So first we need bg white p-5 rounded. So as this is a backdrop, I will add fixed inset-0 bg black bg opacity 50 flex justify center items center. Okay, save it. And now I will add classes here as well, and here I will add bg-white. So here I'm for the model content we need to add some padding, a white background, a drop shadow for depth, and we will also ensure it's centered and has a max width. So for that, let's continue p-5 rounded-md shadow-lg max w sm mx auto, save it. Okay, this is what we have right now. Tailwind makes responsiveness easy, so let's ensure our model looks great on all devices. We can adjust the max width as max wsm class to max wmd on larger screen for a bit more space. So here I will add for the max. Okay, animations can greatly enhance the user experience, so let's add a simple fade in effect to our model backdrop and content. Tailwind provides utilities for transitions and animations. So here we can add transition opacity duration 300, and similarly here I will add transition transform duration 300 transform GPU. So here we have added a fade effect to the backdrop and subtle transform effect to the model content. The classes ensure smooth transitions for both opacity and scaling. If you want more control over animations, consider using custom CSS or JavaScript to introduce more complex animations. Tailwind's apply directive can be used in your CSS files to keep using Tailwind classes within the custom animation. With just a few classes, we have transformed our model into a visually appealing and responsive component. Tailwind CSS utility classes make it easy to style and animate without writing a lot of custom CSS. Remember, the key to great UI is not just functionality but also great design and user experience. Feel free to experiment with different styles and animations to make your model unique. Now that our model is styled and ready, let's integrate it to our Next.js page. The process involves managing the model's visibility through the state and triggering its open and close actions. So let's dive in. First, ensure you are working in Next.js page where you want the model to appear. For this example, let's use the main file that we are already using here. To control the model's visibility, we will use the React's use state hook. So let's add it to our page here. Const is model open, and let's import the use state. In this code, is model open determines if the model is visible, and set model open toggles this state. Next, let's add a button to trigger the model. This button will change is model open to true, making the model appear. So here let me move it in this, and here I will add a button. So let's pass this property to it instead of hard coding the boolean value. Okay, now the model has been disappeared because it has the false value right now. So here I will add button that will have a text open model, and I will add some classes px-4 py2 bg blue-500 text-white rounded over bg-blue-700 transition colors Okay, now I will register the click event on it, and on click we will call the set is model open to true, then it will show the dialog. And on close, instead of alerting, I will simply set the value to false, and here I will pass a paragraph instead. Okay, there is strange pattern here, so let me go to the global and I will remove this default code that came from the installation, so we don't need it right now. Okay, now if I click on that, you will see that model appears, and if you click on close, it will be closed, and if you click on the escape, it will still be closed. So here is open controls the model visibility based on our state, and on close provides a way to close the model setting is model open to false. With these steps, we have successfully integrated our custom model into Next.js page. This model can now be opened with a button click and closed either by close button we added earlier in the model component or by pressing the escape key, thanks to the accessibility features we implemented. Integrating a model into your Next.js project is a straightforward process that significantly enhances the user experience. By managing the model state in an interaction, you can create interactive and dynamic web applications. Remember, the power of React and Next.js lies in their component-based architecture, making it easy to reuse component like model across your application. Now that we have covered the basics of creating and integrating a model in Next.js, let's explore some advanced features that can make our model even more powerful and versatile. Whether it's displaying dynamic content and embedding forms or creating confirmation dialog, there is a lot we can do to enhance our model's functionality. One common use case is loading dynamic content into a model. This can be achieved by passing content as props or using state to fetch and display data based on user interaction. For instance, if you are displaying a list of products, clicking on a product could open a model with details about that product. So for example, here instead of passing the p tag, you can simply pass the product detail component product with the prop product ID selected product ID. So in this example, the product details is a component that fetches and displays the data based on product ID, making our model dynamic and interactive. Models are great for containing forms, providing users with a focused area to input data. Whether it's login form, registration, or feedback form, ensure your forms are accessible and handle form state and submission correctly. Confirmation dialogues are useful for verifying user actions like deletions or important updates. You can create a generic confirmation model that accepts messages and callback functions for the confirm and cancel action. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So here I will pass a paragraph. Are you sure you want to delete this? This item cannot be undone. This action cannot be undone. Okay. After that, I will add two buttons. This button is simple, but just we have added the Tailwind CSS classes and to design it, and on clicking on any of these buttons, it will hide the model. And here, if user clicks on delete button, then we will perform some additional task that we will call a function handle delete, and we will define a function here on the top, function handle delete, and in the console or in the alert you can show that item deleted. So you can customize this message and callbacks based on the action requiring the confirmation. Now let me quickly show you. So I clicked on the open dialog and you can see there is a confirmation. Now if you click on the cancel, it will simply hide it, but if you click on the delete, it will show you that item was deleted. Next we will talk about the using context API for state management. For complex applications, managing the state of multiple models can become cumbersome. The context API or state management libraries like Redux can simplify this by centralizing model state. Using context, you can create a model context to control the visibility and content of your models from anywhere in your application. So let's create a file model context.tsx. Okay, now I will create a variable const model context is equal to create context. We will import it from the React Okay, I passed it a default value, and now I will export a constant use model, and here I will call the use context function from the React and give it the model context. Okay, now I will export the constant model provider is equal to, so we are receiving a children from the props, and here I will define a variable constant is model open, and this will be a state. Here you can add additional states and functions for handling models. Now I will return it model context dot provider, and in the value I will pass is model open, set is model open, and I have placed the children between this tag. Okay, save it. Now wrap your application or component tree with model provider to access and manipulate your model state from anywhere using the use model hook. So let me demonstrate it, what I am talking about. So as layout is commonplace, so here I will add use model here. I will use the model context. There is a spelling mistake here. Now in the layout I will add model provider and put the children between it. Okay, now let's say my button is somewhere here, and let me convert this into the client component so that I could add an interactive button here. Open. So I have added a button open here, and I need to remove the metadata because now it is a client side component. Okay, this button is here. Right now this button is doing nothing, but if we click on that, it should open the dialog from here as well. So now let's create a state const. Here I will import use model. Okay, now we can use it. We don't need is model open. Here let me type any to get rid of these errors. Okay, now if you click on that, we will call that function and set the true value to it. Now let's go to the page, and here instead of creating state here, I will use a state from the model state that we just created earlier. Okay, now let's use it instead everywhere. Let me add any here. Okay, so I think there is an error. So here we have is model open, and so similarly we did a mistake on the layout as well. Instead of using array syntax, we need to use curly braces like that. Okay, so it will not work in any of these ways, even if I put it between this or if I put it outside of the model provider. We have to access the use model from the child component. So if there is a child component that is a child of this, then this will work. So for quick demonstration, I will quickly create another component with a name sidebar.tsx, and I will export the default. Okay, now go back to the layout, and here I will add the sidebar here. Okay, and now as this child component is inside of model provider, now we can move the button and its logic inside the sidebar. So here I will put it, and now let's import this. Okay, I have copied and pasted the same code here. Let's import the use model. All right, now let's test it. Click on that, and you can see that if I click on open that button, then it will still open it. Open from sidebar. Let me add a width. Okay, I added some basic styling, and this is a sidebar, and now I will fix some styling issues in the parent. Here I will add display flex. Okay, this is the button. Now let's go to the page, and I will move everything into another div. Okay, great. Now if you click on the open model, it will open it, and if you click on the open from sidebar, it will still open it. And one last thing, that if you click on the overlay, it should close the dialog. Okay, so let's go to the model, and we'll call the on close if you click on the overlay. Okay, now let's try it. Open it. I clicked on the overlay, it was closed, but it is still being closed if you click on this dialog. So we have to prevent that behavior. For that, you can register on click, and I will use the event to stop the propagation so that this click could not travel to its recent parent. Now if you click on that, click on anywhere inside the dialog, nothing will happen, but if you click outside, it will be closed. Okay, great. So by embracing these advanced features, you can create models that are not only visually appealing but also highly functional and adaptable to various use cases. Whether it's for displaying dynamic content, embedding forms, or simplifying state management, the possibilities are endless. Dive in, experiment, and see how you can enhance your Next.js application with these model techniques. Incorporating models into your web applications can enhance user experience significantly when done correctly. Let's go over some best practices to ensure your models are not only the functional but also accessible and user-friendly. First one is focus management. Always manage focus within your model. When a model opens, focus should move to the first interactive element, usually the first input field or the close button. This practice is crucial for accessibility, helping keyboard and screen reader users navigate your model effectively. Ensure your model are accessible. Use appropriate area attribute like role is equal to dialog attribute and area dash model is equal to true to convey model semantics to assistive technologies. Also provide a label for your model using area labeled by attribute that refers to the model title. Next one is preventing background scroll. To improve the user experience, prevent scrolling on the background content while a model is open. This can be achieved by applying the CSS class to the body tag that sets overflow hidden when the model is active. We have covered a lot today, from creating a basic model component in Next.js to integrating it with dynamic content and advanced state management techniques. We also discussed how to style your model with Tailwind CSS and ensure it's accessible and user-friendly. I encourage you to experiment with different model styles and functionalities. Models are versatile components that can enhance your web applications in many ways. Try adding animations, experimenting with dynamic content, or even integrating forms within your models. If you found this tutorial helpful, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your network, and subscribe to our channel for more web development tips and tutorials. Your support helps us create more content like this. Have any question, or is there any specific tutorial you would like to see next? Leave a comment below. We love hearing from you and are here to help. And don't forget to check out our other tutorials for more guides on Next.js and web development. Thanks for watching and happy coding.